Okay, let me talk about the Carolina Panthers right about now. The Carolina Panthers have been a pleasant surprise in 2020, dare I say. This is a team that I picked to go 3-13 during the 2020 NFL offseason. And I felt the Panthers, they lost a lot of talent on defense. I didn't think the offensive line was all that great. I felt the Panthers would be relying on their young players way too much. And I just felt that having an entire new coaching staff in an offseason where there were a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of players did not get opportunities to play in preseason games. Actually, no players got opportunities because there was no preseason games. And for what it's worth, I felt that Atlanta, New Orleans, and Tampa Bay were just far more talented teams. I felt Carolina could not keep up within their division. I was wrong. But I want to really focus in on head coach Matt Rhule. Because while I did pick the Panthers to be a bad football team this year, that did not mean I did not believe in Matt Rhule. I've been a Matt Rhule supporter from day number one. I have. I've supported Matt Rhule wholeheartedly since he's entered the NFL. I felt he was an excellent hire for the Carolina Panthers, and he is proving me right so far. The thing that I loved most about Matt Rhule is the fact that he turns around programs, and he does it very quickly. We saw him at Temple. In his first season there, he went 2-10. But in his third and fourth season, Temple won double-digit games. They had back-to-back 10-win seasons, and they reached bowl games. At Baylor, his first year there, the team was 1-11 his first year there. His final year there, they go 11-3 and get to a bowl game versus Georgia. I have all the confidence in Matt Rhule as a head coach, and I believe Matt Rhule is more than capable of turning the Carolina Panthers into a Super Bowl contending team down the road. Matt Rhule gets the most out of his players. He brings a certain energy that I love. Players seem to respect him. He seems to be a player's head coach. He's not afraid to be aggressive. And I love the fact that he brought in Joe Brady. Joe Brady has been a great addition to the team as offensive coordinator. We saw what he did with Joe Burrow at LSU last year. And Matt Rhule did something very interesting. He picked all defensive players in the 2020 NFL draft. Not a single offensive player was selected by the Panthers during the 2020 draft. And keep in mind, it was a draft full of a bunch of good wide receivers and good offensive players. But instead, Matt Rhule chose to go all in on defense. And some of those picks have definitely panned out, man. You look at Derek Brown, Yetur Gross-Matos, and Troy Pride. They're all playing at a very high level as rookies. But Jeremy Chinn might have been the Carolina Panthers' best pick in this past draft. Jeremy Chinn has been so good for this Panthers defense. He leads the team in tackles currently. He's got 3 passes defended and an interception. He's been flying all over the field. The Panthers have just pretty much said, hey, Jeremy Chinn, line up here, line up there, do this, do that. He's been able to do virtually everything that they've asked of him, and he's done it at a high level. He's been great. So, man, I got to say, I love what Matt Rhule's been doing, man. He's been doing some great things. And not to mention, Teddy Bridgewater has been playing pretty well this year. I still think Teddy Bridgewater is not a franchise quarterback, but I am definitely willing to change my mind if he potentially leads the Panthers to the playoffs this year and maybe makes a deep playoff run. I'm open to changing my mind about Teddy Bridgewater. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a starting quarterback. Don't know if he's a franchise quarterback yet, but he's playing pretty well. He's definitely taken upon, the leadership role on this young Panthers team. He's playing some good football. And I got to say, man, Matt Rhule and the Carolina Panthers are a team that definitely has a bright future. I love what I've seen from the Carolina Panthers, okay? Now, I will say, if Matt Rhule could trade up for a guy like Justin Fields, I think he should do it. Because as good as Teddy Bridgewater's played this year, I don't anticipate him being the long-term answer. And I think that if you can bring in a guy like Justin Fields to be on your roster and to sit behind Teddy Bridgewater, it'd be a match made in heaven. Now, you may not get to Justin Fields, because he's probably going to be a top 5 to top 10 pick. And the Panthers, the way they're looking, they might win 8-9 games potentially, But I'm going to probably say the Panthers win they'll win anywhere from 6 to 8 games. I think this roster is still somewhat limited in a very loaded NFC. They still have to play some very good teams. They could prove me wrong, but if the Panthers can trade up for a franchise quarterback in this year's draft, they need to do it because they're a very good football team, and they may not have an opportunity to get a guy like Justin Fields potentially. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get Trevor Lawrence just because I don't think any team in the top 3 is going to want to trade down to pass on a guy like Trevor Lawrence. He's just that good. But if you can get a guy like Justin Fields, maybe a Kyle Trask or someone like that out of Florida, maybe you're sold on Trey Lance, you should probably do it because the Panthers, they're getting pretty good very fast. And I got to say, I love what Matt Rhule is doing. And eventually, I'm confident that Matt Rhule will turn the Carolina Panthers into a Super Bowl caliber roster. He's that good of a head coach. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juice Alert Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juice Alert Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.